Learn how to extract all keys, property names from an object. So in this example that we're going to create together, we are going to be looking at how you can use the object.keys method to return all the names, which that is the keys of an object as an array. So the example basically is just going to collect all property names from the person, from an object rather, and then display them. So that means we are going to have to make an object, and then we'll now use this method to collect all the property that belongs to the name, all the property names from that object, and then display them as an array. So let's move on and start following the guide that we have on the screen. Step one says create object person. So I'll go ahead and create the object person equals to, just give this object first name, last name. Now take note of the fact that I am putting comma at the end of it. If I don't put comma and I try to add the next one, see what happens. You can see there's already an error. That's QDLI. So when you have more than one property, you use comma to separate them. The only time you will not add comma or may not add comma is when you've added the last one and you are not adding anything aside from that. That is when you can just leave comma out of it. Then I color, make it blue like this. Now I will not add the last one. So now I have the person object. So the next thing will be called object.keys and pass in the object as a data or as a parameter. So I'll go ahead. And then I'll just call this object.keys. And what do I want to pass in the person object? Now, step 3 says store result in keys. So we need to store the result inside keys. So I've stored the result. And step 4 says convert keys to array. Convert keys to arrays. So how do I convert this key to an array? Well, it's very simple. So by calling the object keys on this person and passing the person into this key object, this method is what is going to convert this object into an array. And we are now storing the result inside of key. So the last thing to do is just to display result. We have already converted it, display result. So the conversion will happen with this method, not something we'll do manually. So now let's go ahead and then display the results. Document.get element by ID equals to text. No, sorry, keys, not text. This is it. You can see first name, last name, age, and eye color. So what exactly is happening here? Well, this object collects all properties name from the person object and display them. What does that mean? By default, objects use key value pairs. Now, in this instance, this method, what it does is that it collects all property names. And if you look at our object, if you look at the properties inside this object, you will see that it has a key and a value. So the key represents the names and the value represents the pair. But in this instance, the keys method, object.keys method, collects property names and not their value. And that is why you can see on the screen, first name, last name, age, and eye color are not their value because the method deals with the names and not value. So that is the reason why you can see this display on the screen. So the object.keys method make it easy to access and work with all property names in an object. And this is helpful, for instance, where you need to look through object properties dynamically. So you can use it to extract names that you want from your object. So in this lesson, Here are some key takeaways. Number one, extract keys easily from objects. So we're able to use this method to extract keys easily from the key value pair inside the object. Number two, result is always an array. Even though they are being displayed as a string, but they are an array. You can see that instead of accessing the property of this object one after the other, the keys method gave us the output in form of an array, but as a text. As you can see it, they are all separated by comma, but they are an array if you should check their type. And number three, it's useful for looping through objects, especially when you need dynamic properties from your object. You can easily use this in order to get them from your object. So instead of accessing each property manually, we collected them into an array, and then we now use the object.keys to just publish them and display them on the screen. Things Other things that I want us to take note of is that the key value pairs that is normally being talked about objects are simply names. When you hear keys, key simply means name, and when you hear pair, pair simply means value. So key value pairs. So the key and the value, key and the value. So the keys usually are the names of the property, and the value are normally the values of that property. So that is what it just basically means in JavaScript.